This is Monday School. It's Wally's take on what he learned at church. Or at least the parts he understood.
So at the time Romans was written by the Apostle Paul, the world was in chaos. It was kind of filled with debauchery and people making up their own rules, living however they wanted to, and it kind of sounds like today, does it not?
Yes.
Sadly, the church is being persecuted for their beliefs and trying to do the right things, and Paul was trying to give the church like a solid foundation of faith. So Paul talks about hope in Christ that we are going to all have, and we're like, yeah, I love it. Nicely done, Paul. Love that hope in Christ stuff. But then he says, we glory in our sufferings because suffering produces perseverance, and we're like, all right, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with the suffering, Paul.
No, thank you.
Thank you. I'll take a rain check. But the reality is life has hardships, and being a believer doesn't insulate us from that. We sometimes sell a version of faith, though, that's not real. You know, we say if you have just enough faith, somehow we're going to avoid trouble and God's going to take all the pain away, which just isn't real, because if it was, no Christian would ever die. You know, we have trouble in this world. Jesus was very clear about that. But faith does play a role in our trials. It doesn't mean that we're like navigated around them, but rather that we're comforted as we go through them. And we have a choice. Do we lean into hope or do we succumb to despair? And so here's a perspective on pain that might help if you kind of wrestle with that. Why do bad things happen to us if we have faith in Christ? So Jesus and his disciples, they see this blind man and they ask Jesus, all right, Jesus, who sinned? This guy or his parents? Because they see a correlation between bad things and it had to be a sin result,
right.
You know? And Jesus kind of sets them straight by saying neither of them sinned. He's blind so that the works of God will be displayed in him. It's not what God is doing to us, but rather what God is doing through us in our troubles, in our trials. And so why do we rejoice in suffering? Not because we love the pain. No one does that,
No.
You know, but the fact that Jesus will use it to help others who are hurting find him is a great byproduct of that. And I think the purpose of the pain for us personally is that if we do lean into Jesus, if we do lean into the hope during that time, it grows us closer to him, and that has a good result for us as well. So it kind of works on both levels if you think about it that way. So maybe if you've struggled with that concept, maybe that helps you out a little bit today, and that's your Monday School.